Good morning, everyone. This is SMD Mazharul, Assistant Professor, Department IS Engineering College, and I am teaching the subject Utilization of Electric Energy. Today's topic is Schematic Utilization and Connection Diagram for Motor Control. So let's go into the topic. In the present days, industry machines are generally controlled automatically. As we know that this automation is in a good boom, so we said that the industrial machines are generally controlled by automatic process only. To make the automatic operation possible, machines are provided with control circuit. So for any operation to be carried on very effectively, some control circuit is needed. This control circuit is very much needed to control and properly deliver the output. So the control circuit design is determined by the requirements of the motor and the machine. So first you have to take the motor as well as you have to take the machine, and then these requirements of the motor and machine are to be analyzed, and these control circuits should be designed accordingly with the requirements of the motor and machine, that is on the output side. Now contactor control circuit components. What is a contactor control circuit components? You will deal. A motor control includes a manual or automatic means for starting and stopping the motor. Now selecting the forward or reverse rotation. So what is a motor control? It stops or starts, and also it has forward and reverse directions of rotation. Now selecting the regulating speed and limiting the torque, etc. are the control circuit components. What are these circuit components that should be controlled for a motor? There is nothing but the speed of the motor, the starting, the stopping, and also the reverse and forward rotation of the motor. So these things are to be achieved by designing suitable control circuits using contactors, relays, push buttons, etc. These components play a very effective role in this motor control, where you have contactors, relays, push buttons, etc. So what are the contactors? What are the relays? We know a few things about these. So we will go in detail about these contactors, push buttons, and all the components which are used in motor control. So the following sections are the components used in contactor control circuits. What is this? First one, push button, and second one is push button control scheme. And contactors and overload relays, fuses, limit switches or overdrive switches, and float switches. These are the things that are used in this particular motor control circuits. These things like push button control scheme, contactors, overload relays, fuses, limit switches, and overdrive switches and float switches. Coming to the push button, a device that provides control of a motor or drive by pressing a button. So this is the thing that you have to understand here. The push button is nothing but a device that provides control of the motor or drive by pressing a button itself. Now, using in remotely operated electromagnetic apparatus and signaling circuits, there are two types. What are these two types of push buttons? We will see now. These two types of push buttons are maintained contact type, in which pushing of the button contact close and remain closed until the stop button is pushed again. So once you are pushing the button, it will be come in contact. Another time you are pushing the button, then it will be stopping. So this momentary contact type, in which the contact remains closed till the push button is held, is all the second type. So it is momentary contact type, in which contact remains closed till the push button is held. There are two types of the push buttons. Next is contacts of push button are normally double brake actuated by plastic buttons. So we can see here contactors. Two sets of contacts are usually provided, namely normally open contacts and normally closed contacts, NOC and NCC. Switch in the actuated state, pressed state, is shown in the arrow mark here. If you see the arrow mark here, you are seeing that the switch in the actuated state is pressed state. If you release this one, it will come up. So this is nothing but here, if you see this one, NC terminal, this is NC terminal, this is NO terminal here, means normally open and normally closed. This one is normally open, this is normally closed one. So we have the plastic buttons where two set of contacts are used, namely normally open contact and normally closed contacts which are used for the purpose of this contactors. Okay. Push button control stations. The push button control stations are used for starting, stopping, reversing or jogging of electric motors by energizing the relay or contactor coils. The push button station usually consists of a green button to start and red buttons to stop. Now start button is normally open, that is NOC, and the stop button is normally closed, that is NCC. So there are relatively few instances in heating, cooling and refreshing industry. They are usually mainly for motor control circuit control and magnetic starters. These things are being studied now for the push button control stations, what are required and how they are being used in the energizing the relay and contactor coils, as well as you are having this NOC and NCC. These NOC and NCC are the things that are used for the with the contactors, where you can have this particular control of the motor very effectively possible. In we have discussed in this slide that heating, cooling, and refrigeration require this type of control circuits of motors. Contactors. A contactor is a remotely controlled electrical apparatus designed for frequently making and breaking electrical power circuits under normal conditions of operation. So, where did you hear this thing like making or breaking a circuit? Nothing but it is a circuit breaker also. You can call it like a circuit breaker. A contactor is a remotely controlled electrical apparatus designed for frequently making and breaking the electrical power circuits under normal condition of operation. According to the means of which by which the system is actuated, the contactors are classified respectively as electromagnetic contactors, the contact system of which is actuated by means of electromagnet. Now, pneumatic contactors. What are pneumatic contactors? The contact system of which is acted by means of compressed air is called as the pneumatic contactor. Now, electromagnetic system, the contact system which acted by means of electromagnet. The contact system of which acted by compressed air is called a pneumatic contactors. Now, hydraulic contactors, the contact system of which is actuated by means of the suitable liquid is called as hydraulic contactor. So, all the contact systems are being held here for this particular contact system, and this contact system depends on the different types of medium, that is electromagnetic medium, pneumatic and hydraulic medium here. So contactors also depend upon the type of this technology they are using. Pneumatic means they are pneumatic contactors, electromagnetic means they are electromagnetic contactors, hydraulic means hydraulic contactors. Electromagnetic contactors have found wide application and are the main power control elements of the modern automatically controlled electric drive system. Now if you see here the contactor, there are DC contactors for using their direct current circuit and DC contactors for using industrial frequency AC circuits, and also high frequency contactors for using high frequency circuit, that is about the range of 1000 Hz. So these contactors are classified as three types: DC contactors for using different direct current circuit, DC contactors for using industrial frequency AC circuits, and high frequency contactors for using the high frequency AC circuit. So these three types are mainly classified. Now we'll talk about the overload relay. What is the overload relay? Whenever you are having an overload, then this relay will operate. So the overload relays are protective relays which disconnect the electric circuits by operating on overcurrent caused by the overloading of the electrical equipment. So if any electric equipment overloads, then what happens? The information is given to the relay and it protects the circuit from further damage. Now the overcurrent is sensed by current transformers and rated circuits with some settings. So who has to sense the current transformers and rated circuits with the settings will sense the overcurrent in the particular circuit, so that the overcurrent is being sensed and the information is given to the relay, and this relay will trip the connection. The contact of overload relay disconnects the supply to the circuit and switches off the supply to the equipment. What are fuses? A fuse is an overcurrent protective device having circuit opening, fusible member. It may be a thin wire or a strap directly heated or destroyed by the current passing through it. As we all of you know that fuses, we have seen the domestic fuses, industrial fuses we have seen. So that the fuse operation is depending upon the current passing through it. A thin wire or a strip is connected in series with the circuit to be rotated. Fuses are classified into two types, that is rewirable fuse and cartridge fuse. Only cartridge fuses are used in the control circuit, whereas these particular fuses are being used in the other type of equipment. Cat tip fuses are used in the control circuit here because they are more stable than the rewirable fuses. Limit switches are overall travel switch. A limit switch or a overall travel switch is a mechanically operated device, the main function of which is to open or close a contact in a circuit at a certain limit. By the use of limit switch in the control circuit, it can slow down or stop or reverse the operation of the drive. The limit switch may be different types, a pusher, a level or rotary or cam type. These are the things that are being held here. The limit switches are over travel switches, so we can say till now we have studied about the push button, the relay, the fuse, and now the limit switches we are studying. So the limit switch is nothing but pusher as well as a lever. These are the types which are existing in the limit switches. But so by what is the use of limit switch in the control circuit? It can slow down or stop or reverse the operation of the drive. So these many benefits are there for a limit switch or over travel switch. Now you see here, these switches are actuated by cams, push rods, levers, and a limit switch is either stationary and actuated by some moving member, or it moves with the machine and is actuated by the stationary member. A limit switch consists of one normally open contact and one normally closed contact. So if you see here, you can have the lever seeing here where it is being pushed and it is controlled here. So as you can see, observe here, the arrow mark is shown where it will be closing, and this lever operates the positions of this. So here you are having switches also, which will make this common connection with the NC or common connection with the NO. Normally open, normally closed will be actuated. So these type of things are being used in this particular limit switches, where you can control the control or slow down the process. What are float switches? Float switch is one type of switch which is used to maintain the certain level of liquid in a tank. So we have heard that whenever a liquid level in the tank should be maintained, we should use a float switch. In automatic water pumping stations, the pump motors are started and stopped automatically so as to maintain a different water level. So this switch is actuated by a float through a chain, one end of which is connected to the float and other end is connected to the counterweight. Stops connected to the chain move a lever which turns and tilts a closed mercury tube forming a switch contact. If you are here, we are saying that we are having this particular things, that is the levers are maintained here, and therefore by automatically the tank is full, then the information is carried out with the help of the mechanical equipment here, and by these the raising or lowering of the float mechanical attached to the electrical contacts may start motor driven pump to empty or fill the tank, whichever desired we are required here. So now you see here, this is the pump down schematic of this particular thing, and if you observe this is a float and this is a bottom float. Whenever the level is high or low, it is being sensed here and the information is given to the pump, so that if it is less, then the pump will operate and therefore the water level is filled up, and if it is more, then the same information will be given to the pump here, and this particular pump will be making this the arrangement so that the the water floating here will be maintained some desired level. So these things are there which are having the main reason for using the float switches. These are called as float switches, which will be helpful for maintaining the level of the water in the tank. So if you see here, this is a mechanical switch, that is bottom float and top float here. How they are connected means we are keeping a holding relay here, and they are giving it to the pump down schematic, where the pump plug is there, where the pump plug is being inside the electrical socket. So this will be giving information that the relay is sensing and telling that there is a particular fill in the water tank, so need not fill the water tank here. So like that, this the thing carries on here. So it is a very effective thing where the motor can be controlled. So these are the schematics where we are using these switches with the help of some other mechanical equipment to properly do this needful thing, that automatic things that are carried out in the electrical process or utilization processes. So if you see here, we were dealing now with the two supply sources of a three-phase induction motor. What is a two-phase two supply source of a three-phase induction motor. In the name itself, it is there that two supply source of three-phase induction motor. This supply source 1, this supply source 2. If you are having this particular RYB phases and here A and B are the contacts, then this three-phase induction motor comes to the contact with the help of these two sources. With the help of these contactors E3 and E4, they are going to connect here and the motor will be starting in operation. So if you see this particular thing, E3, E4 and B0, B1, B2 is given here, so that this particular supply sources schematic is drawn in this way to mention how the two supply sources of three-phase induction motor are working. Now if you see this figure A, it shows the three-phase induction motor which is taking supply from two supply sources through two different contactors. In normal case, motor takes the supply from source through the contactor A. In case of any phase and power supply which is from source 1, the motor can be connected to source 2 throughout another and is inside the contactor B. The motor is getting supply from only source at all the time. And when push button, here push button is also available. When push button B1 is, see this figure, we are having push buttons also here. Okay. When this push buttons B1 is pressed, contactor coil A is energized. The motor is taking supply from three-phase induction motor and starts rotating. The contactor coil A1 of contactor A is closed. Now any failure of source 1, the motor can be supplied from source 2 by pushing the B2 button here. This is the B2 button here, where the supply from the other source 2 can be taken. It is not possible to get both contactors A and B simultaneously, because only from one source only we can operate the induction motor, and from the other source will be like a stepney, or we can tell that it is like we are holding that one for another use, like that we can say. So the double protection against the motor taking supply simultaneously from the two sources, one NC contactor of contactor A with contactor coil B. So here the contactors and the fuses get in the use, where we are using the supply, one supply for if this failed, we can use other supply also for a three-phase induction motor for carrying out the process very fluently. Now we will talk about direct reversing of a three-phase induction motor. What is a three-phase induction motor direct reversing? A three-phase induction motor direction is reversed by reversing the two phases of the supply terminals. Suppose you see here in this figure A, it represents the powered circuit diagram of a reversing a three-phase induction motor, which is getting the supply through energization of either contactor A or the contactor B. The motor will rotate in the reverse direction when it is getting the supply from contactor B. So if you observe here, the contactor A is available, contactor B is available here, and reversing is done by making the induction motor run from this particular contactor B circuit. So if you see, A is also connected and B is also connected. Whichever is required, we will be using that A, or we will be using the B for closing the circuit, as well as we are getting the supply from these three-phase RYB and neutral, and the induction motor is being running smoothly. So this is called direct reversing, where the terminals are changed, from A terminal to B terminal. This is A, this is B. By using the contactors, we are making the reverse direct reversing here possible. With the help of this particular contactors, we are connecting to the B. Now the polarity changes and the direction of the reversing of the induction motor also takes place. So this is the figure. This is the control circuit of direct reversing of a three-phase induction motor. See here, the contactor A is energized by pressing push button B1. Here is the push button B1, it is energized, and the motor is run in clockwise direction. Okay. Whereas contactor B is energized by pressing push button B2, and motor starts running in the anti-clockwise direction. This is here B1 and this is B2. If you see here, B1 and B2 are there, where one is B1 and one is other is B2 here. So the B2 is pressed, then the motor starts running anti-clockwise direction. So NC contact A2 of contactor A is connected in series with the contactor coil A. This provides interlocking of contactor, that is contactor B cannot be energized during energization of contactor A. So we should be cautious that the interlocking of contactor should be done so that the contactor B cannot be energized during the energization of the contactor A. So if one is energized, other should keep idle. If another is keeping idle, the one should be energized, like that. So interlocking is used to avoid short circuiting if both the contactors are simultaneously energized. So students, this was the topic where we have talked about the motor control circuit, and also we have talked about the two supply sources of induction motor, where the induction motor will be having two supply sources. One will be the acting actually first of all, and if it is failing, then the second thing will be applied with the help of these contactors and fuses. And we also seen the direct reversing of the induction motor also, how this induction motor is carried on the this direct reversing. As also we have seen the particular thing that is about the direction of rotation of the induction motor also. So I would like to tell that we are have seen the motor control here with the schematic diagrams. So students, we will discuss about the next topic in the next class. So I want to conclude here. Thank you.